You're listening to Worshipology with Kurtis Parks, a biblical, practical, and spiritual conversation about living and leading worship. Visit kurtisparks.com to learn more and check out Kurtis's books and latest resources for your worship team. Worshipology is a part of the Worship Leader Magazine podcast network. Worship Leader Magazine has a heart to equip spirit-led worship leaders with practical tools, theological insight, and encouragement for the local church. Today's episode is brought to you by PraiseCharts. Whatever resources you're looking for on the latest songs in today's worship music, PraiseCharts has you ready to go. Whether you need chord charts, lead sheets, or full orchestrations, everything is formatted for your team and available for instant download. Stay current, save time, and lead with confidence. Check out PraiseCharts.com today and get your hands on the freshest songs for Sunday. Now, lean into today's episode of Worshipology with Kurtis Parks.
Well, hey, thanks so much for listening to the Worshipology podcast. This is a biblical, practical, and spiritual conversation all about living and leading worship. And today I'm talking with Teel Merrick, who started Worship Admin. I want to talk about the genesis of this awesome resource hub. But man, welcome to the podcast, Teel. It's so good to have you, bro.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, we were just kind of catching up. You know, it's so interesting, in this day and age of technology and how small the world really is. I stumbled on your content a couple weeks ago when we did the podcast with Amber. I saw you liked one of the posts, and I was like, man, this is a cool. I've never seen an Instagram titled Worship Admin. That's a bold title, and so I was like, let me check this out. And so, Teel, just for our listeners, well, let's start with the story of how did you get involved in like worship and ministry and all the things that kind of led you to where you are today, bro?
Yeah, so worship goes back all the way to 15, 16 years old. Started leading worship at my local church and was not good at it. I started playing.
Okay.
I was horrendous at it. So at the time I started playing guitar just because some of my friends did, and my youth pastor at the time had heard through the grapevine that I was playing and singing. And he was like, well, you're going to lead worship next week. And I was like,
nice.
No, I am not. And the problem is that my dad was an elder and a board member. My mom was the worship pastor. And so all he had to do was say, hey, Teel's going to come.
You were voluntold, bro.
Dude, I didn't have a shot. There was no Teel's will in any of this.
I like that.
So the next week I'm up there. I cannot play and sing at the same time. So I'm playing acoustic guitar through the intros, and then I stop playing and sing the parts. Dead serious.
Awesome.
It was horrible. It was me, a drummer, and an electric guitar player. That was it. I was playing acoustic. And I remember we played Fields of Grace by Daryl Evans.
Nice.
And so thankfully it was I could play the intros and then the chorus or the verses would drop. Anyways, it was so bad. And I remember going home after that Wednesday night, and I was like, I will never do that again. And it was the shame and embarrassment of doing it so poorly. It was that next week, I didn't do anything except force myself to, you're going to play and sing at the same time, because I'm never doing that again. So awesome. From that point on, I play and lead there for the next several years. I started playing I went to a Christian school at the time, got involved in the chapel band. Cool. And then from that point on, I've been at my same church for 24 years doing worship ministry.
Amazing.
Started as a volunteer
and
just stuck around. Eventually, they had to give me a job somewhere because
this guy's not going anywhere.
I was like a church rat. I was like, you're not getting rid of me anytime soon.
That's amazing.
And so got involved in youth, and then became the music director of my church right when me and my wife got married. And then I've been the worship pastor there for the last 7 years.
Wow.
And I've just loved it. I love ministry. And almost every time I've tried to step out of it and go do something else, the Lord is always like, no, come back over. And so, which was even the way I got into doing the worship admin thing was, I'd known, I'd kind of felt that thing in my spirit where it was something's happening. I don't quite know what it is. And the entrepreneurial side of me has always been there. My dad was a serial entrepreneur. He was so brilliant. Wow. And so for the last 10 years, I've had little side businesses and side ideas and stuff like that where I was like, maybe this will be the thing, and maybe this will be the thing. And I just keep stabbing at it. But my time in ministry wasn't done yet. And so the Lord just kept like, I'd kind of explore an idea and it'd fall apart, or I'd explore another idea and all these kinds of things. And so, probably about 3 years ago, maybe it's 2 years ago now at this point, we go to, this is the fun, wild story I like to tell whenever I get to be on these podcasts, is that we have a local theme park here in town called Wonderland Park. And
now where are we dialing in from today?
I'm in Amarillo, Texas. I'm in
Amarillo, Texas. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Closest big city is about 4.5 hours away. Everything.
Wow.
Like, we're an island.
You're out there.
We're out there 100%.
Awesome.
So we have this little theme park. I'm obsessed with theme parks. I'm obsessed with Walt Disney. Always have been.
Yeah.
And so we go out to the theme park and we're out there for a night. I'm taking pictures. I'm throwing stuff on social media. And a friend of mine reaches out and he's like, "Hey, I think the theme park's for sale." Ooh. And I was like, "Okay. I have no idea how that involves me."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You should think about it." And I was like, "Think about it? What would I think about?"
Wow.
And so, it's like a worm. It gets in my head. And for like the next 2 weeks, I'm like, I start bouncing the idea off my wife because I'm like, she'll shut it down. She'll definitely shut it down. Like, this is
hope
crazy.
she does. Yeah.
I hope she does. And I look at her and I'm like, "Hey, so-and-so said that the park's for sale." And she looks at me and she goes, "Well, if anybody could do it, it'd be you."
Wow.
And I was like, which was amazing from a husband's standpoint of like that, like your wife is back in your play, but at the same time,
she's got your back.
I'm like, of all the crazy ideas I've thrown at you, I kind of wanted you to shut this down.
Yeah.
So anyways, I chased the idea. We get really close to buying it.
Wow.
We get to a letter of intent. I'm meeting with investors. I'm trying to get banking stuff figured out. I'm going through every report, meeting with every brilliant entrepreneur that I know in town, just trying to understand what I'm getting into.
Wow.
Get really close and the whole thing falls apart. Now, at this point, I have told everybody at the church, "Hey, I think this is my off-ramp."
Oh, snap.
I think this is
it's out there.
It's out there.
Yeah.
And so I meet with several pastors and they're like, "Okay, well, let's get a plan in place."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Great. December, I'll roll off staff. This will be awesome. We're moving through December. Everything's looking great." Thing falls apart. And I start to panic because I'm like, well, this was supposed to be the thing. And I had a little backup plan. Well, it starts to drag its feet as well. Wow. And so I'm like, Lord, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Like, I went from having this huge plan. I got so far down the rabbit hole. I had written a fictional novel about the park. I had created characters. I had created merch. I had done all of this kind of stuff. Wow. And, thousands of hours of my time poured into this thing, and then it falls apart. And Michael Bethany, who does stuff at our church, he's sitting with me one day. He was helping us do strat plans for the guy that was coming in to be the worship pastor.
Wow.
And he goes, "You have a real knack for this administration stuff." And I was like, "Well, thanks, man." He was like, "Have you ever thought about offering it to other churches, like managing all of their administration stuff?" And I was like, "No. And also, I don't know if I even really want to do that." And he was like, "I don't know, man." He's like, I think you need to consider it, like at least think about it. Yeah. So I started thinking about it and I'm like, okay, well, in the meantime, if I can pick up a couple churches, this will be great. So I start the social media account, Worship Admin. That's the reason it's named Worship Admin, is that's the name of my company, is Worship Admin. And I start posting some content. I had promised myself I was going to make a piece of content for every weekday.
Okay.
I had some time on my hands. And so I start making it. I hate the process. I hate it. At 40 years old, to be staring at yourself in the phone, trying to create content, it was it was so humbling. And I just hated it. And so I get to about the 10th day and I'm like, okay, I made a promise to myself. I got to put something out there. And so I'm sitting there thinking okay, well, I guess I could post maybe some stuff about Planning Center. I've spent the last 15 years of my life staring at this program or this platform. And I'm like, no one's going to need this. No one's going to care about this, because in my head, I was like, this is stuff everybody already knows.
Wow.
Like, why would I make a reel about the sky being blue? Everybody knows the sky's blue.
Yeah. You feel like you're wasting your time. Yeah.
I feel like I'm wasting my time. So I go ahead and I'm like, I'm going to make it. It's a post about using song tags inside a planning center, something that I've used for a lot of years, but just assumed everybody knew that was there. Over the weekend, I went from like 300 followers to like 2,500 followers.
Wow.
From that one post. Like it just exploded. And I remember I kept checking my phone and I was like, what is happening? Did I say something like, did I accidentally,
am I in trouble?
Am I a meme now?
Oh my gosh.
This can't be good.
Wow.
And so I'm looking at it and it's like 50, 60,000 views on this one video. My DMs are full of people. Like, I didn't even know this was a thing. Thank you so much. And so it was in that moment that it like dawned on me that it was like, I have the Lord has been so faithful in my life to put really brilliant people around me to help me learn this stuff.
Wow.
I'm going to try and like, I know that the Lord, I trust that the Lord is going to figure out the income side of this, but this seems to be a thing that people really need. And so I started down this rabbit hole of like, I'm going to focus on really practical things that worship pastors need and worship leaders need. They don't, not that I don't mind sharing it, but there was enough like big brain content out there of like big spiritual stuff, big inspiring stuff. Yeah. In my head, I was like, there's not really much out there in the terms of like, hey, Sunday, it can't be a panic every single weekend when Sunday gets here that we've forgotten to do something or something didn't work out or you didn't check you didn't cross your T's or dot your I's. Wow. And then this panic sets in on a Thursday or Friday and you're chasing your tail. Yeah. And so these were all things that I had developed over the years of working in my role as a music director and a worship pastor of like, if I'm going to have any chance at being creative or doing stuff that I love, I've got to figure out some systems for my weekly life because I don't want to be panicking every Thursday. Because I was doing the exact same thing. Like I was
Sunday comes every week. Sunday comes every week and you've got, I mean, well, I want to pause you there because like, it's so interesting, like hearing some of the story in the genesis of worship admin, because it's almost like it wasn't plan B. It wasn't plan C. It was like further down the alphabet. And yet, you said Michael Bethany kind of prompted this thing of like, hey, there may be something more here. And there's something to that, Teel, where it's like, we oftentimes like we're looking in one direction at like, no, this is the thing. And then it's out of left field. What is it? Like the John Lennon quote, like life is what happens when you're busy making plans. Like you're going towards this direction of like the theme park, which is awesome, by the way. Like that's so I've never heard that before. And so, and who knows, maybe down the road, but like you're going down this direction and then something comes out of the blue and it's like, man, this could be the thing. You put it out there as like, it's like you're fishing with bait that you don't think any fish is going to bite. And then all 100%. Of a sudden it's like, oh man, I just got blown up on this thing. There may be a need for this. Talk to somebody who's out there that it's like, maybe they have an inkling that something that the Holy Spirit's stirring something inside of them, but they're just a little afraid to do that. Like, what was it in you that kind of conquered that fear of like, nobody's going to need this. Nobody's like, what got you to the other side of that hurdle, Teel? Because I think a lot of people get stuck there, to be honest. Yeah. I think a lot of it, I've come to, I guess at 41 years old, I've come to terms with most of the time when God is trying to do something new in my life, it's not going to use the things that I'm super good at. Like it's going to require some part of me to rely on him, because if I can do it, like if it makes sense to my head and I have all the skills to do it, then there's a very high likelihood I'm just going to do it in my own willpower. Wow. And so the social media thing was something I didn't really want to do. I didn't really, like you said, it wasn't even in the A to Z of plans. It was not out. It was not in there at all. I'd tried all kinds of things. And in this like tumultuous season of like the things falling apart, it was like, I went through 100 different ideas and social media was never on it because I've tried doing the social media thing so many times and had failed so many times. And so if you're out there, I'm looking right at you. If you're out there and you're wrestling with what the next thing is, more than likely it's going to be something, it's going to be related to a muscle that you haven't used or you haven't worked out in a long time.
because I think there's a huge component of that we have to trust in the Lord to take that next step. That if it's in our own ability, our just natural human tendency is to take credit for it of like, I'm really good at this stuff. Now, yes, what I will connect to that is like, yes, I had spent a lot of years in planning center doing all this kind of stuff, but that wasn't, there's even a component to that these were all things that I thought were just like, I guess I'll just never use those skills again in some, in this capacity in my life. And I'll step into the next thing and it'll be what it was. But that combination of like the Lord using something that you can do, that you do have some ability to do, but you're going to do it in a way that requires so much trust, and it's going to require you to, and this is off the top of my head. So, but the getting out of the boat and walking on the water.
Yep.
The water was not unfamiliar, but the way that you interfaced with it was completely unfamiliar. Like you'd been on the
good.
You know what I mean? Like you'd been on the boat. You'd been on the boat a million times. You've been fishing out in those waters a million times, but the way that the Lord was inviting you to participate with it required so much faith. It required so much trust to get out of the boat.
So good.
Even though potentially the vicinity and the area that you were in is somewhat familiar. Yeah. So that I think that's part of it is like, whatever the next thing is if
you're not completely
familiar,
foreign to it, but I get what you're saying, because it's like, God will often use us with what we're gifted at. And like, he wants to use those gifts, but he wants, like, what is it? Like, his strength is made perfect in our weakness. Like there's an element to where it's like, I've got this in my hand. Like God used this, like David with the sling. It's like, I'm pretty good with this. I've practiced with it before, but I've never fought a giant before. It's like, you're stepping out in that element. And let's just say this too, like I think a lot of times, your business is called Worship Admin, and many of us have admins that work for us. And there's this false thing that like administration is not linked with the spiritual. Hey, listen, 1 Corinthians 12, administration is a spiritual gift. And I can attest, like, that's not one that I have, but like, I love, honor, and respect those that do. And so, okay, so you're here with this gift, but also this massive, like, feeling of like, I don't know what I'm doing. How do you get to where you are today, man? That's just wild.
Man, really the only thing I can attribute it to is the Lord. And I don't mean that to be like, if someone's in this place where they're kind of wrestling with like what to do, like I'm not trying to be intentionally ambiguous, but at the same time, like the doors that have opened up for me in the last 7 months, I can't even really attribute it to like how great the social media content is. It's just the Lord. Like the doors that have opened, the random phone calls or direct messages that I've gotten from people. It's only the Lord. Like it cannot, like the partnerships that I've been able to develop with people, the opportunities that I've had, it's only because of the Lord. And so it's like every day I'm waking up, which I think probably has a lot to do with my personality, is like every day it's like it's probably why the theme park was so interesting to me. It was like endless things to fix. And so each day getting up and coming to my office, thinking about content, resources, systems, consulting with churches, is it's constantly trying to solve or give fresh eyes to a problem. Something that somebody else is struggling with, or something that I'm trying to figure out, like, what do people need today? What piece of information do I have that I could present in a unique way to help somebody? And so that, I don't know, man, like I wish I had something more concrete to tell people of like, you should do steps, 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
But at this phase in my life, I'm so much more aware of what I'm not good at and what the information that I don't know. That I'm in the Lord's hands. Yeah. Of this thing could run its course in a year and I'll be stepping into the next thing. It could last me another 10 years. I don't know. Yeah. But in the season that I'm in, the only thing I can do right now is the daily bread thing. Is like, this is all I've got for today. Yeah. And I'm going to work super hard as I can within the 7 to 8 hours that I'm focusing on work while I'm in this office. Yeah. I'm going to do it with every bone in my body.
Wow.
And I don't really know what to do about tomorrow. I mean, the amount of time that I've spent trying to like figure out the algorithm and figure out ways to market things, like it's exhausting.
Once you know, let me know, okay?
Dude, if I ever know, I'll tell everybody. You can all have the information.
That's awesome.
So I think that's part of it, is like just the constant discomfort of having to trust the Lord. Like, even,
well, and that's probably why he's blessing it. Like, let's be honest. Like, you know, I think there's so many people that are looking for a silver bullet to success, and they're looking for that formula. But your story is so similar to many pastors that I've talked to, Teel, where it's like, you know, their church went from, 10 people to 1,000 in 6 months. And all these church planters and pastors are like, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? And I prayed, the Holy Spirit breathed on it, and here we are. It's kind of like that thing where it's like any God idea takes God to bring it to fruition.
That's true.
And when you do that and you step into the unknown and he's there with you, it's so cool what happens on the other side of that faith equation, man. And so here you are, you've got worship admin. It's like locked and loaded. Like, tell us about like, what is worship admin? What is the vision and heart behind it? And what exactly do you do right now, Teel?
So a lot of it is centered around managing other churches' planning centers. So if you are a worship pastor, or if you're a senior pastor listening to this and you want 15 to 20 hours of your life back every single week,
yep,
I'd love to help you.
He's the guy.
I'm the guy to help you. But if you don't want to do that, I help churches develop systems. I help worship pastors. My niche is really specific to worship pastors and taking care of and pastoring and loving on their volunteers.
Wow.
I've been on both sides of it, where I've been a volunteer for years,
yep,
and then I was a music director, and then I was the worship pastor. And so I've been on both sides of it, where I've been a volunteer that was taken care of. I've been a volunteer that was not taken care of. And then I've been the worship pastor not taking care of my volunteers.
Wow.
And the Lord convicting me and speaking to me and opening my eyes up to like, you can't realistically pastor the however many people are in your church every single week,
right,
but you can pastor these people that are volunteering with you and playing with you each week. And that was a huge realization in the last few years, is that like good administration, being organized, was a ministry to my volunteers, that there were things that I was doing. I wasn't being intentional about it, but there were things that I was doing haphazardly that was causing them pain and frustration when they were desiring to serve in a capacity in church. And so I was doing things, whether it was organizationally or whether it was with charts, MP3s, like files that they needed just to do the thing that they signed up for.
Yep.
And when I wasn't providing those things to those people, it was creating a conflict in their heart of like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this. I felt called to be a part of this team, but this is really frustrating. Like, this is really hard. And each week it's very stressful because stuff is changing last minute, or, parts didn't get put up, when they were supposed to, or it's the wrong chart, or it's in the wrong key, whatever it is. Like, all of that stuff seems really minuscule, but stacked up over months, people get to a point where they're like, dude, this is so much effort. And I have a family, I have a job, I have a wife, I have a life outside of church.
Wow.
And this is creating more frustration in my life than it's potentially giving me joy.
Wow.
And so that became the whole ethos of worship admin was, hey, if you want this off your plate, and a lot of churches have really enjoyed that, of like, hey, I'll be your remote music director. Yeah. I'll take this thing over. All you have to do is text me the songs you want. I'll take it from there. Wow. I'll make sure everything's dialed in. I'll make sure that people are communicated with. I'll even handle scheduling if people want me to handle scheduling. Like, it's been my life for such a long time that I can do those things. But if I don't do those things for you, here are resources that can help you get 5% of your brain back today. If you'll do this one thing, you can get 5%, 2%, whatever it is.
Yeah. Any percent is better than,
any percent is better than
we have this thing we say all the time. It's like every week we want to get 1% better, it's like, and over, but I think it's so key that you bring this up, because I mean, man, guilty as charged. I've been a worship pastor since 2010. And, it is like you get in the flow, you get in, like, sometimes you can get these blinders on of like, you can be so about the task that you forget ultimately ministry is about people. And if you're so concerned with like the songs and the set list and all of these things where it's like you're neglecting the people at the expense of community and relationship and true ministry. There's a problem with that, man. Like what are like some of those pitfalls that you've encountered as you've worked with multiple churches that you're like, man, just be aware of this, like on the side of ministry when it comes to just loving your people?
So the thing that I've come to realize, this was something that came about in the last probably 4 or 5 months, is this, I call it the volunteer triangle, but it's
Okay.
3 sides of a triangle that every volunteer, at least in worship ministry, I do think it applies in other areas, but specifically for worship ministry, is that worship volunteers need resources, they need information, and they need expectations. You need all 3 of those.
Yeah.
Resources are your charts, your files, your MP3s, your YouTube links, whatever it is. Information is like, where do you need to be? What is it's the who, what, where, why, when. That's what you're answering. Who do I need to contact if I have questions? What do I need to do? How do I need to dress? Where do I need to be? That's basic information. And then expectations is like, hey, when you show up, we expect you to be here 15 minutes early. We expect you to know your parts. Now, the hard part is, if I don't provide you resources, it's really hard for me to enforce expectations.
Wow.
Like, it just is what it is. Like, same thing with my kids. Like, if I don't give them basic information about their chores, and then I come home and I've told them, hey, clean up the backyard. What does that mean?
Right. Yeah.
The whole backyard? Like, what? So if I don't clearly communicate expectations and provide resources and provide information, worship leaders can end up getting to this place where they get frustrated with their volunteers. And it's like, well, maybe this person, maybe you're not the right fit for the team. Wow. And it's like, you're missing it. Like, most of the time, this is what I've learned from my pastor, who's a brilliant leadership guy. He's brilliant. There's only 3 reasons why people don't do the things that you ask them to do. Either you haven't given them the things that they need, they're not equipped to handle the task that you've given them, or they're rebellious. Now, in my experience, I've very rarely ran into people that are just flat out rebellious.
Yeah, you're right.
It very rarely happens. Maybe 2 people in the last 20-something years of doing this have I met anybody that's like, I'm just not going to do what you say because I don't want to. That's so rare in worship ministry. Now, the other 2 falls back on me, on both of them. I've given somebody too big of a task that they're not ready for. They fail at it, and then I'm like, well, maybe you're not the right fit. And it's like, well, dude, you put a junior high football quarterback into a college game. They're not in the right environment, they will excel. But if I put them in the wrong environment, or I give them a task that they're not gifted at, that's on me. And then the resourcing them appropriately, again, that's on me. So like, all of these things kept coming back to, as a leader, am I doing everything that I can to put a softball on a tee and help them hit some home runs and get some wins under their belt before I start throwing them into situations where things are much more complicated or harder? Or am I just throwing them in the deep end and being like, well, you said you wanted to do this.
Right.
Right. Like, it keeps coming back to my responsibilities as a leader and how I'm equipping these people. And so that really is the ethos of worship admin, is like helping worship leaders and worship pastors take accountability for what they can control, doing everything that they can to pastor and love on and provide the things that their volunteers need, to then raise up worship leaders and worship volunteers that can eventually take this thing off of your plate, because you can't do this for forever. Like, worship leading and being a worship pastor is an assignment. And assignments are for a temporary period of time. And if you treat an assignment like a permanent thing for the rest of your life, things get very weird very fast. Because I was talking to a guy on TikTok the other day, and he was wrestling with all this stuff of like, I feel like I'm being controlled. I feel like I'm being manipulated. I feel like I'm being, I'm not getting to be my authentic self. And I said, well, hold on a second. I said, you're assigned to do this worship leading thing for a period of time. If you attach your identity to something that you know is going to change at some point, you are going to feel like the rug is getting pulled out from underneath you all the time.
Man.
All the time. You will feel that.
That's so good. Wow. I mean, you just gave us a master class on like, and honestly, like in ministry is like, there's so many different avenues and there's so many, potential complications with it. But I do think like there, and I'm just like reflecting on even some stuff that's happened this last couple of weeks as you've shared of like, like, well, this MP3 is not working, or like, I can't get access, like multi-tracks is locked out again from Planning Center. Like there's all of these technological things that we can often pin our frustrations on people, where it really is a systems thing, or it really is something that like maybe it was out of their control and it's out of our control. But like, what does the enemy want? He wants division. Like, what does the enemy want? He wants people pitted against one another. And I think that's the beauty of like something that is so simple and yet we complicate it, which is administration. It is systems. It is having these plans in place. Like, is it mainly with Planning Center, or is there other facets of like technology involved in worship? Like there's so many things out there now with multi-tracks and chart builder and all these different, is it mostly Planning Center that you find yourself working with too?
I work a lot with Planning Center, but a lot of it has moved into just the basic leadership components. Like usually whenever I sit down to consult with somebody, that's where I'm trying to start at, is like this, let's just pretend like
so it really
Center,
is customized and catered to that
it's
individual
customized
ministry.
and catered to everybody. So if
Wow.
you want just Planning Center, multi-tracks, but then it gets into the leadership stuff, because what I will say is that like a messy plan, let's just pretend like the issue is a messy Planning Center. It's disorganized. Every week it's a mess. That is fruit. That's just fruit on a tree of a root that we got to deal with from a leadership standpoint. I don't want to do this stuff because this stuff feels mundane and boring, and I don't like doing mundane and boring stuff. It could be a million different reasons, but usually when there is like something like, oh, I just didn't get around to it, usually that's just fruit or evidence of something deeper that needs to get dealt with. And I will say, because I was that guy, like I have such empathy and compassion for worship pastors that are in it, because most worship pastors are having to wear too many hats. And I say it specifically, too many hats. Like you're having to do men's ministry, and you're having to make sure that the AV is set up for kids. And then you're having to try and lead work. And so you got all this stuff on your plate. Yeah. And this stuff can have a tendency to get thrown to the wayside, because in ministry, a lot of times, unfortunately, the thing that's on fire gets the most attention. Wow. So if that's something is not doing well, and you have to fix it right now. Right. We have to fix it right now. And so that's
the urgent. Yeah.
That's the urgency. So it's like, we're not addressing why stuff is catching on fire. We're not addressing how the fire got started. We're just put it out. That's the only thing. That's the only focus right now, is we just have to put it out, and then we'll figure it out. And the problem is that usually, most times when we get the fire put out, we don't take the time to go back and figure out, okay, how did this happen? Like, whose job is this? Whose responsibility is this? If it's mine, if it's theirs, whoever it is, whose responsibility is this? We're not going to get bent out of shape because somebody didn't do their job. Because again, back to the reason why people don't do things. Yeah. We're not going to get bent out of shape and, throw somebody under the bus. Why did it happen? And is there a system that we can put in place that helps this to not happen again? Wow. Those are the questions that I generally enjoy asking worship pastors, is like, and this is usually whenever I sit down with somebody, the question I ask is, if you could snap your fingers and make something magically happen, what would it be? Wow. And I get a whole host of
what are some of the answers that you're getting for that?
It's everything that you can think of, because I will say, like, I'm not trying to be ambiguous intentionally, but like for each worship pastor, trying to pin down their point of frustration takes a longer drawn out conversation of, usually that's where I start, because if they say, well, I just wish my Planning Center was cleaned up. Okay, great. Yeah. That's easy. We can fix that. Yeah. Why do you need it cleaned up? Well, it's like a monkey on my back. It's like this weight on my shoulders that I know it's messed up. Okay. So you are seeing that something is on fire and you have a desire to put it out. But just because we put it out doesn't mean, like, we've got to go all the way down to the bottom of it and get to the thing beneath the thing, which is my little slogan with all of our worship interns that we've done over the last few years. That's always the mantra that I speak to them, is the thing is not the thing. Whatever is pushing your buttons, the fruit is not the thing. You've got to go deeper. So if getting assigned to kids pushes your buttons because you
Wow.
wanted to be in the main sanctuary. The thing is not the thing. Just if you get to be the main person in the worship center, that's not going to fix the thing that's beneath all of these other things.
Wow.
We've got identity issues. We've got submission issues. We've got authority issues. We've got to get to that stuff, because if we don't address the thing way beneath everything,
Yeah.
this will just keep coming out in a million different ways.
Wow. This is so cool, because I never expected to kind of hear that side from just looking on the outside of what you do. I mean, like, where does all that like leadership and just the passion to kind of help people get to the root of those? Where does that come from for you, Teel?
Man, a lot of it came from my dad and another pastor in my life, Jimmy Witcher, who taught me a lot of these leadership things. And there have been a ton of amazing mentors in my life. I've been incredibly fortunate to be surrounded by lots of brilliant older men in my life, where they were kind enough to tell me the truth. They were kind enough to look at me and say, "Hey, I love you and I care about you. You can't keep doing it like this.
Wow.
You can't keep operating like this. You cannot, I'd vent or vomit, throw up all my feelings and emotions, and someone would eventually say, "Hey, I love you. Have you talked to this person?"
Wow.
Well, no, I haven't talked to. Okay. I had another pastor. This was one of the most important things and that happened in my life. Is I was super bent out of shape over some stuff that was going on at the church. And I called him, and I'm just venting. I'm venting. And he stops me. He goes, "Hey, have you talked to this person?" And I said, "No, not yet. I don't really know how to." And he said, "Hey, I say this with love. Don't call me anymore to do this unless you plan on talking to them first." He said, I'm not going to take these phone calls anymore where you just call me and gripe and complain and vomit everywhere, and then expect me to pat you on the back and say you did a good job. And dude, it was so humbling, but it was one of the best things that I needed to hear it, because it put the ball back in my court, that it was like, if you're not going to do the hard work, you don't get to do this. You don't get to just call and complain and gripe and cry and moan on the phone. With no intention of changing it, because there is a way to change it. There's a way to fix this situation, but it's going to go a hard route. You're going to have to go talk to this person, and you're going to have to hear their point of view. You're going to have to understand that you played a part in the pain. You played a part in this self-sabotage that you are stuck very squarely in the middle of, Teel. And so that's what I attribute it to, is that the Lord has been so faithful.
Good
and my
coaches.
dad did this for several years in my life, where he would say hard things kindly to me, and I didn't want to hear him. I didn't want to hear him. And now I lost my dad 5 years ago. And now
so sorry, man.
I appreciate that. Now there are so many moments that happen where it's like, I can hear those things where I'm like, man, he was right. He was batting 1,000. Everything he said to me was 100% dead on.
Wow.
And I will say this is another huge realization of being in ministry as long as I have. The great advice that older people are going to give you is not necessarily so that you don't make the same mistake they did. It's so that you know what to do once you get yourself in the mess.
Wow. That's really good, Teel.
That changed my life. The Lord, it was definitely the Lord that showed me that, because that's not, I'm not smart enough to come up with that on my own, but the idea that like good advice keeps you from making mistakes, I don't think is true. It can, but for me, so much wisdom that these older men have given me has come to fruition and has bared fruit in my life, not because I avoided things altogether, but it was when I was in the middle of the mud, those things would come up in my mind and be like, okay, I know how to get out of the mud. Now I have to make the choice. Am I willingly going to stay in the mud knowing that I could get out? Or am I going to do the hard thing and I'm going to get out of the mud?
Wow. Well, I think we just got a message within a message. Like, get around some older, wiser people in your life. Like, and I'll say the same thing. Like I'm preaching this weekend, and I'm just like looking at my sermon notes, and it's like, this is just a scrapbook of all of the pastors and preachers that have poured into my life. Like the wisdom that what does it say in Proverbs? Like, counsel is found in the or something about many advisors. Wisdom is found with counsel of many advisors. So it's like, I think there's something to that where it's like, if you feel like you're on an island as a worship pastor, worship leader, whether you're volunteer or staff, you don't have to be. Like there's going to be people in your church, in your life. And if you don't find those people, pray that God would send them. Like, I think that was, it was so interesting, Teel. I was meeting with my men's group. We meet every other Saturday morning for coffee, and just kind of talking about the value of that group. There's 7 of us, and we get together, and it's like iron sharpens iron. We just, and talking about like, well, not all of us have those covenant friendships, those relationships that will, in grace and truth, tell us like when we need to kind of straighten up. And if you don't have that in your life and you're listening, like, man, pray that the Lord would send people, or pray that he would illuminate the people in your life that maybe they're right there on the fringes and you just need that invitation. I mean, that's so good, man. So, okay, I do want to ask this question. I don't know if you call yourself a guru when it comes to like Planning Center, but so many worship teams and leaders use Planning Center. What has kind of been like one of those like golden nuggets where you're like, yeah, I bet you never knew this, but like this is like an aha light bulb every time you've shown it to somebody? I know there's got to be stuff like that exists out there, right?
It's got to be the song tags feature. So in our
I heard you mention that. I want to know more about that.
Yeah, so song tags changed my life, but that was the original video that blew up.
Yeah.
Is we have 600, almost 700 songs in our church's library. So if you sit down and you try to make a set list, you're going to be clicking through pages forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just looking, because every song that anybody has ever entered on our team, I mean, that's kids songs, that's one-time songs, that's funerals, weddings, anything that somebody needs to get access to, they put it in Planning Center.
Wow.
So song tags just allows you to tag or categorize a certain group of songs under a tag or a title. So for us, we use what's called a master set list that is probably 60 to 70 songs. That we're not going to do 70 songs in a year, but these are the 70 songs that we're going to consider for 2026.
Kind of like
we usually do this. Yeah, it's like a big song bank. So what we started doing was we would tag all of those songs as master set lists. So if somebody was making a set list, hey, just click on, when you filter on the left side of the screen, if you go to the songs page, if you go to the left-hand side of the screen, there's a little filters tab. You can filter it down by master set list. That takes the set lists or the song options from north of 600 down to 65.
Wow.
And you can look at every single song that is in consideration for the 2026 year.
Wow.
Then you can go even deeper than that, and you can tag fast songs, medium tempo songs, slow songs. So at our church, we use something called the Journey of Worship. And the Journey of Worship is basically using the Tabernacle of Moses as a way to categorize songs. So you've got gate, altar, laver, holy place, holy of holies.
Wow.
We even go a step further, and our master set list is tagged with those stops in mind.
That's cool.
So if you are looking for a gate song or an opener song, you can filter it down further and click on gate, and it'll just give you the 8 or 9 fast songs that are in consideration for the opening. So you've just taken a song bank of almost 700 songs down to 8 songs. And so for a new worship leader, especially if we're training somebody up and we want to give them the opportunity to pick a song, this gives them some autonomy. This gives them some ownership in the set list making.
Yep.
Hey, here's the filters. Use these and pick a gate song for this weekend. They get to go in there. They look at those 8. Hey, I'm thinking Be Glad or There's Nothing That Our God Can't Do.
Yep.
Hey, those are 2 really good options. You pick, because both of those will work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I really feel drawn to There's Nothing That Our God Can Do. Awesome. What key do you do it in? Well, I do it in this key. Now that person goes from being completely overwhelmed by the song bank, the big monster song file bank, down to I've participated in the song selection process and I have ownership in this set. It's not just being like, hey, you're leading this weekend. Here's your song.
Good luck.
What key do you do it in? So that's a big deal for me is song tags. They make life a million times easier. They're a huge, huge benefit to worship leaders to use. If you are looking for a step-by-step, you can go to my site, teelmerrick.com.
Okay.
Go to the free resources, completely free. There's a song tag tutorial. It'll walk you through every step. I have pictures of Planning Center, where to click, where to go into. I've got examples of tags that you could use. If you're just getting familiarized with this, you can use the ones that I have in there. It'll make your life so much easier. So much easier.
And that's one secret right there. Like,
that's
I
one
can't
thing.
imagine, you probably got a whole cookbook of just like great recipes that'll make life way more simple. And
well, in the free resources, I'm telling
Yeah.
you, that's not like a cheap.
There's no
giveaways.
risk.
Go on there.
Yeah.
There's tons of links that you can go check out, tons of downloads
So cool.
that you can get. Like everything that I've talked about in this podcast so far is in there. You can go use it right now, and it's free.
Wow. All right. So we're going to put a link to Teel's website on our show notes, as well as how you can connect with Teel on Instagram. Make sure you follow Worship Admin. Hey, Teel, the way I love closing all of these podcasts is with a simple question. I don't know where our time went, but this has been so informative. It's also been like really inspiring, because I think you've hit on a lot of things that many worship pastors, but also just people in ministry could relate to. So thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for your wisdom, and just kind of sharing your story with us. I love asking this question to close out. What do you feel like the Holy Spirit's been speaking to you? Just kind of maybe something on your prayer life that's just been on repeat, something the Lord's been highlighting to you that could be just something that encourages all of us today, man.
Man, that it's probably, it goes part and parcel with what I've been talking about, and it's just being faithful with the little stuff. That's
good.
The Holy Spirit. I mean, that has been on my heart of again, every single day, just being faithful with what He's given me. He has not given me Friday. He has not given me next Thursday. He's not given me, September. He's given me today, and trying to be faithful with what I have today, and the things that people trust me with, doing them to the best of my ability. I want to do them with every bone in my body, because that's what I think He would want. Is that's been a huge thing. It's definitely bled over into my personal life with my kids and my wife. Is like, hey, even if I don't love taking the trash out, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, and I'm going to be faithful with it. And sometimes I'm going to forget, and sometimes I'm going to mess up, but I get another day, hopefully, to get it right tomorrow. I'm going to try my best to be super faithful with what God gives me tomorrow, and just trying to approach each day that way. Wow.
Teel, you're the real deal, man. I appreciate you. And thanks for being with us on Worshipology, brother.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate it.
You've been listening to Worshipology with Kurtis Parks. Visit kurtisparks.com to learn more and check out Kurtis's books and resources for worship leaders and teams. Worshipology is part of the Worship Leader Magazine podcast network, brought to you by Worship Leader Magazine. Today's episode was sponsored by PraiseCharts. Visit PraiseCharts.com and get everything you need for your worship team today.